Um, Aleph Gimel. Caribs, when they form dark spots and are all that are black, when they form and all they are black when they form dark spots. Pears, pippins, quinces, and crab apples when they become smooth, and all that are white when they become smooth. Fenugreek when it is able to grow, grain and olives when they have reached a third. And among vegetables, cucumbers, gourds, watermelons, cucumber melons, apples, citrus, and citrons are liable whether small or large. Where the shipment exempts the citrons when they are small. When bitter almonds are liable, sweet ones are exempt, and when sweet ones are liable, bitter ones are exempt. Which is their threshing? What is their threshing for? In regard to Maasros, cucumbers and gourds once their fringe is taken off, and if he does not remove it when they have been stacked. Melons when they are made smooth, and if he does not make them smooth when he lays them out to dry. Vegetables which are tied in bundles, once they have been tied in bundles, if he does not tie them in bundles when he fills the vessel with them, and if he does not fill the vessel once he has gathered all it needs. A large basket when he covers it, and if he does not cover it when he fills it the vessels, and when he does not fill up the vessel once he has gathered all he needs. When does this apply? When he takes it to the market. But if he takes it home, he may eat it at a chance meal until he arrives at home.
Okay, carrying on in the same pattern of different species and when they're liable to chumas and masros. A paired v'hatzimukin v'charvin. So paired is the dried dates, the dried fruits of the dried seeds of rimonim.
Right.
Okay, and tzimokin is raisins and charvim are carobs. Mishe Ya'amid Arema, when he makes them into a pile. Okay, that's the final Vahabit Salim. And Mishe Yafakel. Onions, when you Mafakel, when you take from them the all the bad outer skins. Okay. And if that's not his practice to take off those skins, if you just take them to market just like that, Mishe Ya'amid Arema, when you make them into a pile. Hatzavua mishi yamarech, and this is the most famous one is grain when you smooth the pile. And if it's not his practice to smooth the pile, sheyamid arima, then it's as soon as he makes it into a pile. Kitnios legumes mishe yichbor. Mishe yichbor is kvara when he
It's sifted. When he sifts it.
right,
Right.
he puts them to take out to take out the stuff from to take out the undesirable stuff. Okay, the im eno there, and if that's not his practice, ajim arech, then when he smooths the pile. Af al pi shem mereach notel mina kutaim, and even though he has smoothed out the pile, he can take from the broken legumes, uminatdarim, and from the sides, umima shebesocha tevin, and from stuff that's found in the straw of ochel, and he can still eat that as a chance meal. It isn't brought along with the rest of the pile to say, okay, now you've got to take Trumas and Masters before eating. If he feels like snacking on the edge pieces that we just spoke about, that's not considered part of the pile, and that's still legitimate. Okay. Mishnah Zion. Hayayan. Wine from when he is mekaper. Mekaper is when he takes off the
Not skims when he skims it.
when he skims it, right? He skims it from the skins and the seeds that have floated up to the top. Okay, that's the moment when he actually finishes it. I think I went to a winery once and they were giving us a talk about the wine, and they said that the skins and the seeds are actually like you keep them there for the duration of the process, unless if you want a white wine, then you take out the skins.
Okay.
But the skins are what gives it the red color. And he says it doesn't matter what color grapes you use, which actually really blew me. I thought that the color of the wine was because of the color of the grapes.
I always thought that.
Nope.
It's the first time I'm hearing it. Yeah. So if
So
you have,
if you have white grapes and you leave the skins in, it'll turn into a red wine.
oh wow, no
Wow.
idea. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. I can
Okay.
argue with one. I can argue with the women. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, anyway, so afal pisha kipa, so and even if he has skimmed it, kolek min hagasa elyona, he can still take wine from the upper press and from the pipe, and he can drink from that if he wants to. So even though he's made the lower vat is now kavua, and he has to take Trumas and Maasros, even if he wants a little drink of grape juice, he can take from the upper one still. Okay. Shemen mishi yered lauka. Oil from the press also goes into a little pit similar to a wine press in structure, just different scale. Um, and Ahol Pisha, you're right. And even though the oil has gone into the uka, notel mina akal umi bein hamatal umi bein hapatzim. He can still take oil from the bas the so, uh,
It goes in the press
the
basket.
wicker basket, the press basket, right? The wicker basket, or from between the boards of the press. V'noten chamita v'letamchoy, and he can put it into his food. What the chamita is, but it's dafka this kind of food we're gonna see. He can put it
A
into
cake.
a light cake or into a big bowl that's full of food. But he cannot put them into cooking pots when they're hot. Because why? Because cooking is already koveya. This is no longer called a chance meal if you're sitting and cooking stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So if it's raw, yeah, that's called a chance meal, but not when you're starting to cook. Rabbi Yehuda omer lakol hu noten chutz midavar sheyesh bo chometz v'tzir. So Rabbi Yehuda's very makel over here says that now that the cooking doesn't is not kovea, that still can be considered a chance meal. But if it's got vinegar or brine in it, that's because of their sharpness, they assist in the bishul in the cooking, and therefore he said that's kover, but not cooking itself. I don't know. I'm not sure I really understand Rabbi Yehuda's opinion over here. But he says after you've taken it off the fire, he says after you've taken the pot off the fire, you'd be allowed to put the oil in. Where the Tanakama would say no, if it's still hot, you're putting it into a thing that's no different than having it on the stove.
Oh,
Okay,
because it doesn't say it in the translation. It says it in the notes.
that's right.
Right. Okay.
Excuse me.
Okay.
Okay, eagle. An eagle is that's a big fig cake. They make them into these pressed into these circles for just for presentation. So all the time you've been working with these figs, and you're still not liable to master from them. While you're making the thing, you can snack on the figs. But once he has smoothed it, that's now fixed, and now he has to take chumas and maasros before he's allowed to eat from it. Machlikim batainim u'ba'anavim shel tevel, and it says the Tanakama, you're allowed to squeeze onto them, use the juice to smooth it of figs or from grapes that have not yet been mastered. And
And
Rabbi
tell
Yehuda,
them.
right, so that's called tevel. Okay, and Rabbi Yehuda says no. So here he because Yesh Bazehef said tevel because you're causing a certain amount of loss to tevel, which means that he's causing a loss to the coin because some of the juice is going to drip off and it's going to be lost, and therefore that was potential truma that was going to go to the coin. Okay, hamachlik ba'anavim. If he's squeezing with grape juice, lo hukshar. So even though grape juice is one of the liquids that is machshir for tuma, but he's squeezing it. He's doing it on. He's basically rubbing the grapes on the fig cake. So says the Tanakama. This does not prepare it for tuma. Because why? Because it's not. He's not squeezing out the grape juice and then using it. Because he's rubbing it directly on. Um, because right. It's not ever considered that it was grape juice by itself, and therefore it's not a machshir. But Rabbi Yehuda disagrees. He says it's mukhshar. This is grape juice as anything, and it's now susceptible to tumor.
Who's
Hagrogros.
saying,
Hmm?
saying this? Mayor is saying that it's first it says that Rabbi Huda forbids. Who's saying there's a cake of figs when he smooths it down? Who's saying that?
Tanakama, unnamed Tanakama.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so Hagrogros, now the dried dates, Misha Yadush. So when do you have to, when are they considered no longer chance meals? From the time that he threshes. Now, what is the act of threshing with dates? Um, that's when he basically he presses them into the barrel, and that's considered the Gemar Malacha. The
You said
Magura.
yeah, when they're stamped down in a store bin, they're pressed together.
And the
And
Magura,
when they
that's the storage place for the dates. Um,
figs,
yeah, then
figs.
the agel from when he rounds it, when he b'ma'agelas al paneha arima shemagura hare gemar melachtan lemaser. Okay, when basically he finishes his work in that barrel. Okay, haya dash bechavis agel b'magura. If he is threshing it in a barrel, he's pressing it in the barrel, and then he later puts it into a magura container. So he's still busy working with it in the barrel. Nishbara hachavis, and the barrel broke while he was working. The nifchasa hamagura, or the so beg your pardon. There are two different cases. If he was busy pressing the cakes into the barrel, or he was busy doing putting the dates and pressing them into the magura container, and while he's doing it, in either case, if the barrel breaks or the magura breaks, lo yochal mehem arai, it's already too late. Even though it wasn't properly finished, he still cannot snack off this now because once he's pushed them into there, that's already Gemar Malacha for that date. Okay, but Rabbi Yossi disagrees. This is only when all the work is completed and you've got a full pressed fig cake in there. Is it completed? Okay, and in all these cases that we mentioned in our Mishnah, Kahati points out that it's not the minority opinion, not Rabbi Yehuda, not Rabbi Yossi. It's
Right.
followed the Tanakama. Okay, back
You
to
know, fig. I never saw a fig cake. You ever
uh,
see a fig cake?
yeah. We used to buy them in South Africa for sure. You buy this rectangle, this brick of pressed dates.
I never saw that.
Yeah.
Wonder
Um,
if they do that.
Yeah, it was. I mean, this was before we kept kosher,
Right.
because we were buying it without a hechsher, which you can do with dried fruits,
Right.
even though we weren't like keeping kosher. But that part, it wasn't like that we're concerned about bad ingredients, unless you're considering like the bad ingredients being the bugs. Um,
Right.
there's absolutely no way that you can open those things up and check for bugs. Um,
Right. Right. I
uh,
never saw it. Maybe that's why they don't make them here.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a very large part of. First of all, look, if you read like Rav, what's his name, Rav, the insect checking rabbi. I mean, he's super super machmir on everything.
Right.
And he basically says figs are basically treif. Don't even bother. You can't ever eat them. But there are people who are more makel, and you can buy fresh figs, and there are reasonable ways of checking fresh figs. Um,
But I do buy a fig, like in the Rosh Hashanah time, something, I mean, I open them, I check, do go the whole thing. Or
yeah,
and it takes the pleasure away from eating the fig, though. I
yeah.
know. Okay, Pumas, you'd Dalit. If one heated an oven with cumin of truma and baked on it, the bread is permitted since there is no taste and only the aroma of cumin. If fenugreek fell into a wine vat of truma or maisa sheni, if the seed was sufficient to impart a flavor, but not the stalk of the seventh year, of vineyard kalayim or of hektish, if the seed is the wood and would the wood impart a flavor. If one had bundles of fenugreek of vineyard kalayim, they must be burnt. If he had bundles of table fenugreek, he must beat them and calculate how much seed they contain and separate from the seed. but he does not separate from the stalks. If he separated, he must not say, I shall beat and take the stalks and give the seeds, but he must give the stalks with the seeds. Okay.
Okay.
I feel like I'm holding a baby here. It's cat, you know.
I can just see an ear poking up over the camera.
Oh my gosh. All
Okay,
of them did.
Yud base.
They're all like this. Good base. Here we go. If one slaughtered a cow and distributed it on New Year's Day, if the month wasn't calculated, it is canceled. But if not, it is not canceled. The violator, the seducer, and the slanderer, and any act executed by the court are not canceled. If one loans against a pledge or handles his bills or hands the bills to the court, they are not canceled. Uh, Crow's Bell is not canceled. This is one of the measures which Hillel the elder instituted. When he saw the people refrain from the lending to one another, and thus violated what is written in the Torah, beware that there is not a base through your in your heart. Hillel instituted the Crow's Bill. This is the substance of this Crow's Bill. I will transmit to you and so and so and so and so the judges in such and such a place that any debt due to me I shall collect whenever I wish, and the judges sign below and all the witnesses. Okay. Okay. Paya, base hay. If a person sows his field with one kind, and even though he does not, he has two, but he does sow in the two threshing floors, he gives one paya. If he sowed it with two types, even though he did it with one threshing time, he gives two payot. If a person sows his field with two types of wheat, he does sow in one threshing time, and he gives one payah. Two threshing times, he gives two payah. It happened once that Rabbi Shimon of Mitzvah sold before Rabbi Gamliel, and they came up to the Gezit chamber, and they asked Nachum the scribe. They asked Nachum the scribe said, "I received from Rabbi Messiah, who received from his father. He received from the parents, who received from the prophets, a law given to Moses on Sinai regarding the person who sows his field with two types of wheat. If he did them in one threshing floor, he gives one payah, and two threshing floors, he gives two payah." Field what non-Jews reap, robbers reaped, ants have bitten, the wind or the cattle broke, it is exempt. If he reaped half of it and robbers reaped half of it, it is exempt for the obligation to pay for pay filled with standing coins. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
Are you
halos.
comfortable? Okay. Oleos. Okay. Test of the base. In the case of wooden tablets of breadth above the ground, that one touch another at the corners, and there is tumor underneath one tablet. Someone who touches the other tablet becomes tummy for 7 days. Utensils underneath the first tablet become tummy whereas under the second remain tahor. A tabletop does not spread tumor unless it extends beyond the base up by a handle. In the case of barrels that are outdoors, standing upright or lying on their sides, which touch one another by a square handbreadth, if there's a tummy underneath one barrel, tumor penetrates directly up and directly down. In what case does this apply? When the barrels are tahor. However, if they are tummy and a handbreadth above the ground and one tumor under one of them, the area beneath all of them become tummy. In the case of a house divided by boards or curtains from the sides or from the joists, if there are tumor inside the house, utensils inside the partition section remain tahor, and if there is tumor inside the partition section, utensils inside the house become tameh. When there are utensils inside the partition section, if there is a cube handbreadth, they become tameh, and if not, they remain tahor. Okay, and went to
The
book
tumor wants to
chart.
go out, not in.
Right. Okay. Um, Dalet Zion. They asked the elders in Rome if he does not want idol worship, why does he not make it? Why does he not make it cease? They, the sages, said to them, if they, the idolaters, would worship something which the world does not need, he would make it cease. But they worship the sun, the moon, the stars, and the constellations. Should he destroy his world because of the fools? They said to them, to the sages, if so, let him destroy the idolatrous things which the world does not need, and leave the idolatrous things which the world does need. He said to them, then we too would lend support to the worshippers of these, because they would say, you must perceive the proof that they are good, that they are gods, for they have not been ceased. They have not ceased. One may buy a trodden winepress from an idolater, even though he takes with his hand and places it in the mound. And he does not become Mesek, does not become Mesek line until it descends into the cistern. If it descends into the cistern, that which is the cistern is prohibited, and the remainder is permitted. Okay, I gotta get this guy down. Come on, come on, go down. Okay. One may tread with an idolater in the winepress, but one may not harvest grapes with him. If a Jew processes his fruits in the state of Tuma, one may not tread, nor may one harvest grapes with him, but one may transport barrels to the winepress with him and carry away the winepress with him. If a baker proceeds in Tuma, one may not knead a rolled dough with him, but one may transmit bread to the retailer with him. And last we have is follows. Follows. Gimel test. If three brothers were married to the three strangers and one of them died, and then the second one performed mama with her and also died, they require chalitza and may not be taken in Hebrew. As it is stated, and one of them dies, her husband's brother shall come to her. Only a widow who is attached by one brother's bond is subject to Yibum, not a widow who is attached by two brothers' bonds. Reb Shimon says he may perform Yibum with whichever one he wishes, but he must then perform chalitza with the other. If two brothers were married to two sisters and one of them died, then the second one's wife died. She is forbidden to him forever because she was once forbidden to him. Two men who betrothed two women, but when they entered the bridal canopy, they confused with one another, one with the other. They are obligated to bring a sin offering because of adultery.
Oh
If
my
they were,
gosh.
if they were brothers because of the prohibition against the brother's wife, if they were sisters because of the brother's prohibition against the wife's sister, if they were menstruates because of the prohibition against the menstruate, you separate them for 3 months in case they are pregnant. But if they were minors and capable of childbirth, we restore them immediately. And if they were daughters of the Kohanim, they are disqualified from eating truma. Yes, we have. If someone performed chalitza with his yavama and then she was found to be pregnant and she gave birth, if the child is capable of living, he's permitted to marry her relatives, and she is permitted to marry his relatives. And he has not disqualified her from the priesthood. If the child is not capable of living, he is forbidden to marry her relatives, and she is forbidden to marry his, and he has disqualified her from the priesthood. Okay.
Okay, and we done. All right.
I haven't had a chance to try your recipe.